Hello everyone, I'm Wang Xueying and the topic of our group is the language around the world, which visualizes the current linguistic situation in the world. First, I'll introduce the main content and the motivation of our project and the dataset we used. We all know that the language and the human process are inextricably linked. It's a carrier of human thought, a tool of transmitting emotion, and a reflection historical culture. Currently, there are over 7,000 languages existing in the world. In thousands of countries and regions on Earth, different races and ethnic groups have produced different language due to geographical and historical reasons. However, for most ordinary people, we are only able to have some understanding on our mother tongue or some languages which are used broadly, and we know very little about the overview of other language in the world. With the spread of culture around the world, language has played a very important role as a bridge for human communication. So, through the visualization design of world language data, we could obtain a deeper understanding of language history and the cultural development, as well as even find some meaningful conclusion from some perspective in a vivid and intuitive way. Our data comes from the Word Alters language structures and Glottolog. WALS is a large database of structure properties of language gathered from the descriptive materials by a team of 55 professional authors. Glottolog provides a comprehensive catalog of the world's language families, and their dialects, which assign a unique and stable identifier to all languages. We extract more than 2,000 language recorded data, and each language is marked by a unique identifier. It also includes information such as language name, language family, latitude or longitude, and other information. We clean up the original data to ensure that the format of the data is uniform and convenient for our subsequent processing. Next, I'll introduce the validation design of our group. In the parts of validation design, we divided the task into 5 parts based on the attributes of the language or the direction of the value of the data. It's covered from the analysis of the basic features of a language to the extraction of information for more extensive validation research. The first task is the population and trend of languages. For language research, the number of people who are proficient in using this kind of language can intuitively reflect the global influence of the language. We use the static bar charts to arrange the number of speakers according to the speaker's data, so as to realize the distribution of language speakers and its trend over time. In addition, we also designed the trend of language speakers over time by using dynamic bar charts. It visualized the data from 1968 to 2020, which could intuitively reflect the floating changes of language users on the timeline.
I'm Huang Zicheng. I'm going to introduce some other visualizations we have done in origin country. By visualizing the origin of languages, we can know where different languages originate. When you move the mouse on the map, we can check the details. It could present the distribution of language from the perspective of geographical location, which provides a powerful help for the further research of language and cultural communication. The visualized data is from the area or country where the language is derived. The next one is the language family and the language category, which is a visualization of different language families in the world. Today's world's languages are mainly composed of 9 languages family. We make them into a tree diagram to reflect the specific situation of each language family, where data comes from speakers and families. The next one is the dialects derived from the same language. Through this picture, we can get the number of dialects in the main languages. Through the number of dialects, we can know Japanese has the most dialects, about 125 dialects. Through the number of dialects, so you go to Japan and other may not understand your Japanese. For this visualization, we use bar chart to complete and use data or data use language and dialects. The next one is data and location. We visualize the number of endangered languages in the world and divide them into different levels to show the degree of endangerment. The points on the map represent each endangered language. They are distributed around the world. The number of endangered languages reflects the number of ethnic groups in the country. We can also know how many different languages people there are in a country. We use color to encode the degree of endangerment and using point to encode the number of speakers. Our data comes from the category and the location. The next one is also state and location. Through these bars, we found that endangered languages are mainly distributed in the United States, India, and Brazil. We can see the number of endangered languages in detail. So use the map and this bar, we can well reflect the situation of endangered languages. The data comes from categories and locations.
Let's go on to see our interesting part. I'm Zhang Yi, and this tree map visualizes the per capita of each language to say whether there is a relationship between the number of people speaking different language and their income. The area size encodes the quantity of GDP. We divide the map to 3 clusters, use different color. The first one is blue. As shown in our visualization, it has highest GDP from 36,000 to 18,000. Most of them are developed countries. The Luxembourg has the highest per capita GDP. It can be said that there is no direct relationship between the number of people and the per capita GDP, so it doesn't mean that you will have more money if you speak Luxembourg. And the second cluster is red, the GDP from 16,000 to 34,000. And the third one is yellow. We can see the Chinese in this one. The GDP of it is 9,207. The next is about the language cultural influence. The left one is the visualization of the saturation of language recording. We use heat map to show it. The point in map encodes the location without linguistic record, and the temperature range encodes the density of this location. The highest temperature locates the Europe, indicating that English is the most influential, so the other language is no recording. And the right graph is about the book translation situation. The red column shows the book number of translation from a language. We can see that English is much more than others. The next is French and German. This language outputs the most book and translates to other language. And the green column shows the book number of translate to a language. We can see the German, Spanish, French are the most language. This shows this language have more demand to intake other languages culture. So we can combine the heat map and the translation situation. We found that the translation of book from English is most extensive, proving that English is the most influential. Therefore, the answer to what other European languages no language recording is obvious. The above is our task to language visualization. So we get the basic information of it, including trend and population, orange, language family, and the dialect situation. Besides, we discovering some interesting parts. To locate the 5 states of language, the per capita GDP of language, and the cultural influence situation. So we have summarized the language information comprehensively. Users can delve into language development to review insights into culture and the evolution of the language. The tools we use is the Tableau, D3, and eCharts. These are useful tools for our visualizations. And that's our discovering about language. So thanks for watching.